What's up? Thanks for bearing with me. I am Herb Howard. We are less than 24 hours away from the start of the 2019 NFL season. The Chicago Bears come into the season with extremely high expectations. Coming off a 12-4 season in 2018 in which they won the NFC North, the season unfortunately ended tragically at Soldier Field against the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs in the game mostly known for the double doink. But the Bears come into this season with one of the best rosters I've ever seen them have in my time as a fan. It's really let me know that all the times that I kind of thought we had a good roster, we really did not. We came into this year with so much depth. There was very few position battles coming into training camp. We pretty much knew who all the starters were going to be. The defense returned 9 of 11 starters. They swapped out safeties with Adrian Amos going over to the Packers, Clinton-Dix coming to the Bears, and Buster Skrine took over the nickel spot as Bryce Callahan left in free agency to join former defensive coordinator Vic Fangio out in Denver with the Broncos. Now, I am not going to spend this entire season on this kicker roller coaster talking about whether or not Eddie Pinheiro is going to be the single thing that keeps us from winning the Super Bowl. I think he's won the competition. I think he has a lot of confidence. I think he has a lot of leg talent. Sure, he's going to miss some kicks, but every time he misses some kicks, it's not a reason for us to beat him up. That's not going to help any of us in the long run. Now, if he has a game similar to some of the games that Cody Parkey had last year against the Detroit Lions and others, then obviously we're going to get rid of him. The Bears are not tied to him with any long-term contract as they were with Cody Parkey, which is the reason he was able to stick around throughout the entire season. If Eddie Pinheiro struggles in that way, they'll get rid of him quickly. So I'm not really going to ride this kicker roller coaster. I'm going to have faith in him. I believe he's going to do a good job throughout the season, and we'll see how we get started tomorrow at Soldier Field against the Packers. The Bears, if you're talking about the Bears, obviously we have to start with the defense. Everything starts with the defense for the Chicago Bears. They have an elite defense, had the best defense in the league last year, led the league with 36 turnovers. They were the #1 scoring defense in the league last year. Now, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to duplicate some of the numbers that they put up. 36 turnovers is an extremely high number, but they're going to be very, very good again. Now, obviously, Vic Fangio, former defensive coordinator, as we stated earlier, has moved on to become the head coach in Denver. He's been replaced by Chuck Pagano. He's a veteran coach. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to be changing the system so much. He understands that these players know the system that they were running last year and they ran it very well. So it would be foolish of him to change the system drastically. Now, I will say this. Chuck Pagano is a little bit more aggressive of a defensive coordinator than Vic Fangio is. He's going to blitz a little bit more. He's going to bring some more pressures, whereas Vic Fangio kind of likes to sit back, rush 4, and drop 7 guys into coverage. Every now and then, you're going to see Chuck Pagano blitz his linebackers, bring a little bit more pressure, and that's going to put a little bit more pressure on the corners on the outside as well as those safeties in the back. And so it's going to be really, really important that the secondary are working together. When you're talking about having those new two pieces, both of those new pieces coming in the secondary with Buster Skrine and Clinton-Dix, how soon can they all get on the same page in terms of how well they communicate pre-snap and post-snap? That's going to be a key. I expect them to be, so a little bit rusty coming into the season. They did not play much in the preseason at all, and so they didn't have a chance to work out some of those kinks in live game action. Obviously, they took a lot of reps in the preseason in terms of practice reps, but having that experience in the game together is going to be something that they're going to have to develop throughout the season. I don't expect it to be a big problem. I don't expect it to be something that they cannot overcome. Clinton-Dix and Eddie Jackson, obviously our Pro Bowl safety, actually played together for a year at Alabama, both of them in the secondary under Nick Saban, and so they're kind of reunited back there. And Buster Skrine is a 9-year veteran coming over from the Jets. He's got experience with the Browns as well. I expect him to fit in just fine with this new defense. But it all starts up front for the defense. It's all about that front 7 led by none other than Khalil Mack, but you've got Akeem Hicks as well, Eddie Goldman, as stout as any nose tackle in the league, and those 2 inside linebackers, Danny Trevathan and Roquan Smith, as good as any inside linebacker duo that you're going to find. So that front 7 is really going to carry this defense. It's going to stabilize them. It's going to cover up any mistakes that may be made on the back end, because quarterbacks understand they simply do not have a lot of time to get rid of that football. So the ball's going to come out quick. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for people like Kyle Fuller, who led the NFL last year with 7 interceptions. Eddie Jackson had 6 interceptions. And HaHa Clinton-Dix is also a ball hawk. So you know that ball's going to come out, and it enables you to take a lot more chances, to be a little bit more aggressive on the ball when it's in the air. And with Khalil Mack, Leonard Floyd, Akeem Hicks, that defense is going to be applying pressure to opposing quarterbacks all season long. So the defense is solid. I expect them to be the best defense in the league again this year. Now, whether or not they have the 36 turnovers and #1 scoring defense, it's not the point. You're not going to be able to run the ball on them, and they're certainly going to be taking the ball away and applying pressure to the quarterback consistently, game in and game out. So you flip it over to the other side of the ball. Can the offense complement the defense enough for this Bears team to go as far as they want to go this year? I believe that they can. It's a very diverse offense. They have lots of weapons, many different guys that can do a lot of different things. You talk about Tariq Cohen. You talk about Allen Robinson on the outside, a big, premier #1 receiver. He's coming off, he's in his second year removed from the ACL. And it's that second year when you really start to get, comfortable and be back to your old self. We know that in 2015, Allen Robinson had a monster season, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns. I don't know if he's going to match that type of production if for no other reason than the fact that there are so many other options in this offense, but he is that caliber of a wide receiver, and I think that he can be similarly productive in this system. But you also have Taylor Gabriel. He's a speed demon. Anthony Miller came into the league last year as a rookie, had led the team with 7 touchdowns, and he did that with basically one arm as he had to have offseason shoulder surgery. He's been limited a lot throughout the offseason because of that surgery and some other nagging injuries, but he says he's completely healthy and ready to go. I think Anthony Miller is going to be a phenomenal receiver for the Bears for a long time. And so we have those 3 receivers, Robinson, Gabriel, Miller. You also have Trey Burton, who is a very, very versatile tight end who can do a lot of things for you in the passing game. He's been limited as well throughout the preseason, and there's questions about whether or not he's even going to play tomorrow versus the Packers. But if he's healthy, he is a threat as well at the tight end position. Then you get into the backfield. Tariq Cohen and Mike Davis was the free agent pickup that they brought in, and then they drafted David Montgomery in the 3rd round. The rookie out of Iowa State is expected to come in and shoulder a lot of the load in terms of carrying the ball out of the backfield. I believe that Tariq Cohen is one of the most dynamic players in the league. You got to find ways to get the ball in his hands. He did not touch the ball nearly enough in the playoff game where the Bears were ultimately eliminated by the Eagles, and I think that is something that Coach Matt Nagy really, really regrets. I expect Tariq Cohen to get the ball early and often throughout this entire season. And so really it all comes down to one person on the offense. That's 3rd-year quarterback Mitch Trubisky. Can he take that next step? Can he take that next leap to become an elite quarterback in this league? I believe he has the skill set. He can make the throws. He's athletic. He knows how to manipulate the pocket. He can escape and run when he needs to. But can he consistently make the plays to beat the defenses when the game is on the line? Can he avoid making the mistakes that will then put the defense in tough positions? If our defense does not have short fields, I believe that they'll win 9 times out of 10 against any offense that they're up against. But if we're turning the ball over and we're putting them in tough positions and they're on the field for a long time, any defense will wear down and start to give up some points. So can Mitch Trubisky control the football? Can he make the plays that need to be made and simply be a point guard, if you will, for this offense and simply get the ball to the playmakers where they feel most comfortable? If he can do that, then I think that this offense will be more than sufficient enough to complement this outstanding defense that the Bears have assembled. When Mitch Trubisky was drafted #2 overall, we traded up from #3. My personal feeling was that for him, it was Hall of Fame or bust. He had to be a Hall of Fame player in order to justify them moving up from 3 to 2 and everything they gave up to go get him in a draft where you also had Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. However, he doesn't need to be Hall of Fame good for this particular team to go win a Super Bowl. He only needs to be good enough, and I think he can certainly be that good. And if he does, this Bears team can go as far as they want. This is obviously a team with legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. The Bears are one of a handful of teams who can actually win the Super Bowl this year. I think they will be there at the very, very end. My personal prediction for them this season, I believe they'll go 12-4, matching last season's record. A lot of people think they can't match that record because their schedule is a little bit tougher this year than it was last year, but I think they're good enough to match that 12-4 record. Starting with a victory tomorrow against their rival, the Green Bay Packers, at home at Soldier Field, I have the Bears winning tomorrow 29-17 and starting the 2019 season at 1-0.